This week's sponsor is Absolution Clothing. Absolution Clothing is a new clothing brand from Liverpool with unique designs for hoodies and t-shirts for all ages at really good prices. Give them a follow, you won't be disappointed. Absolute Clothing. You'll find all the information within the description.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Billy Moore podcast, and today's special guest is John Whelan. Johnny English, how are you, my mate?
All right, mate, not too bad, thank you.
John has got an incredible story, similar to myself. You spent a long time in Thailand, in a prison. Tell us about that, John.
Yeah, I was there 18 years, 3 months and 6 days.
Speaking to that, mate, please.
Yeah, 18 years, 6 months.
18 years, 6 months
Yeah.
and 3 days in a Thai prison.
I didn't agree with the repatriation treaty. I had a number, I put my hands up, I got a death sentence, and then I had 50 years because of admitting guilt. Not to the amount I had, that was extra. You can repatriate after 4 years with a number. If you had life, which is tantamount to a 99 or 100 years, you had to wait 8 years to repatriate. After about 3 years, I realised what I was entailed, that the Brits just babysit you for the Thais, sentence stays. Unlike other Europeans, you do about 18 months, because they say, oh, we could have given you that sentence about parole eligibility after 4 or 8, you're out in 18 months. Canadians, Americans, 3-4 months on average for the bag carriers like myself, and they're out. And I'm saying, well, I can't be the same as them. At my point where I could have transferred, I had 46 years left, and I would have had to stay 23 years before parole if there weren't no amnesties, of which I had 7 in the end, hence getting out in 18 for 50. But yeah, that's what my thing was rebelled against it and not going back. So technically I haven't got a criminal record in England.
Yeah, so you went to Thailand. Tell me the story. What happened, John? What happened there? Where did it all begin? Where did it go wrong?
Cause and effect. I was borrowing my cousin's van. He had an asbestos removal company. I worked for him here and there. But my main thing was doing roof repairs, getting £1,000 a week, in the 80s, later 80s, for my own thing, and doing this asbestos thing, tax reasons and all the rest of it. I fucked the van up. I got done for drink driving. A tow hitch of one of them jennies left out in the road from the council or whatever. I beat the wheel rim off on that. Police come round. I said a couple bottle extra at home and that, but they still done me. They were after me for a previous thing anyway. It started from there. I had a motorbike, sold it, thought fuck it, I'd go to Thailand because I couldn't do my roofing round. And that's where it all started off. I went in Thailand with 150, less than 200 quid when I got there after paying the flight.
What year was this?
93, February.
So February 1993,
Yeah.
you went to Thailand. Was it just a little break? Was it an escape? Was it?
Yes, going to go for a few weeks. Wanted to suss out the Muay Thai, never done it, see what that's about. Which I did. I ended up living on a boxing camp, a place called Lamai on Koh Samui, where we ended up. I was fighting a couple of weeks later, my first fight. And they went on from there, just kept doing these fights, find paperback books in restaurants for a while, and just resell them to the library, stuff like that, just to get by. I made some T-shirts, hence my name was Johnny T. They put Johnny T. Strip.
Yeah.
So going around with those sandwich board wagons, like a pickup with the ads on the side, promoting yourself, driving around the island. There was that big Buddha, the first fight.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was a big Buddha, the first fight.
Yeah.
TKO'd myself. You know those aluminium jock straps you wear on that? You tie them on. Got quite big bollocks. So one of them was...
You have?
Yeah. So done a roundhouse. Went over the top of the ropes and squeezed me bollock on the rope tonight. TKO at the end of the 3rd round.
Wow.
So that's how it started.
Try and get a little bit closer. This just for the benefit, John, of
all right. Can you hear that now? Yeah.
Well, yeah. Everyone who's watching, because sometimes we struggle with the volume and people complain. You know you are. Anyway, moving on.
It was So it's that as the Muay Thai, and I bumped into some people, Nepalese eventually, found hashish, cherries. Yeah, and
did you have a drug problem before you went over? Would you say, or was it?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Just smoked a bit of weed. Yeah. That was it. I tried the trip once.
You tried the trip once.
That was it.
So what happens in Thailand? Where did it all go wrong there?
Needed more money. Found the hashish, and you could blag the Thai police in the south. You could just say it's herbal medicine for your stomach, whatever. They go along with it. They just knew what the weed was.
Yeah.
So I was just selling hash to expats, just doing steady. Not could live like a Thai out there. So on a beach bungalow, do my fight. I had a fight, 3 fights once in 5 days because of a visa run. Another time 3 fights in 11 days. But usually it's a couple of weeks of fight.
So where did
At
you go?
19.
Where did you go for your visa runs?
Penang.
Penang.
And I went to Kota Bru once as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what part of Thailand was you in?
South Suratani.
Suratani.
And
Yeah,
I was on Koh Samui.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you lived down that part of. See, I was up north. It was a bit cooler up there.
Yeah, you got the mountains. Didn't you?
Yeah, we got the mountains.
I was there 14 and a half months before prison.
Yeah.
Lived in Thailand. Loved it, except for the battering on your shins and that. That
So,
right.
to get a death sentence in Thailand, you must have been up to some serious business out there.
I was.
Tell us.
From the hash, it led on to will you carry a bag? And it's not like I'm banged up abroad and that. I didn't know it was there, or I thought it was something else, or they put it there. Yeah, obviously people are trying to get out of it, but nobody. If you think of the cost of the product, I had 2.1 kilos of China white, 350 gram blocks straight from the factory, in between Burma and China in those states there. They got 40,000 soldiers there around the factory, slash and burn, how they produce it and everything. So Thailand's the first democracy next door, so it's a lot of it's going out from there.
Yeah.
A bit from Burma and all the rest of it, but the majority is going through Thailand. Police and military control a lot of it. We were an independent crew, and we got caught. But I was snitched from another English guy who saw what was going on. Thai Bird, whose dad was in the police and all the rest of it. And I got set up in that sense. I wasn't a decoy because I had too much stuff, but I simply snitched. So the police were waiting.
So you got arrested with what
2.1 kilos.
2.1 kilos of China white.
Yeah.
Now I know as well as you, mate. You know you're getting nicked with that kind of grip in Thailand, and you are looking at serious kind of consequences.
Yeah.
And for you, what was the feelings you were going through?
I had about 4 or 5 flights cancelled, so they may have picked up on some of that as well. And put 2 and 2 together, and I got there a bit late to the airport, motorbike taxi, and they were waiting plainclothes. 2 of them grabbed me. Just after at that time it was 200 baht. I think it's 500, maybe 1,000 now. When you leave the country, you got to pay that small fee. As soon as I'd done that, even before going through the X-rays, they grabbed me there. The stuff, the bag, you had 3 blocks on top of each other, like a head bag with the zips, false sides on it, put in there. Not brilliantly, you could feel the edges in that with your fingers, but it's wrapped with carbon paper, no touches, no creases and all that. In 94 this was, that would go through X-rays. So you got a professional that does that, packs the bag. Because Chinese people, I was going to Taiwan, they want the product unbashed, they don't want it troubled or nothing like that. So you're getting 85 to 92% China white.
Yeah.
Number 4 eucalypt with the lion head stamps on it. So they know that what they're getting, 100%, like the triad or mafia, whatever.
Yeah.
Green bamboo in it, one of the main Taiwanese ones. They know what they're getting. From there, it would go to America, something like that. I don't know.
So
I'd get about 10 grand for that.
10 grand for the trip?
In those days, that was not too bad.
No, it's good.
Street value, $1 million US.
So what was how many trips did you manage to make before you come on top?
That was the first one.
The first one?
Apart from a little fuck up.
Did you even get your 10 grand?
No, nothing, mate.
That's
just
heavy.
50 years for fuck all.
50 years, John.
Yeah.
Right, so talk me through, because I know the feelings you're going through, mate, because it's probably similar to what I experienced, but I wasn't looking at 50 years by, no stretch of the imagination. It was, even a day was horrendous. So I can imagine, having to face,
it's surreal.
Yeah, so share your experience going forward, what happened with the core process for you back in 93, because, it might have been
94,
different.
94, sorry.
94 now. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the process you went through.
After I was caught, we were taken for interrogation. There was other Nepalese with me, making sure I went. Taken to separate rooms, handcuffed to a chair, big battens out, and the English was appalling. The level of English, the guys out spitting at you and everything. So you go through that phase. I asked loads of other prisoners had they been to that bit, pre-Chinatown for 7 days and straight to court. They didn't do that. They just on the Chinatown thing. No one I knew went through this interrogation. That meant they didn't know who our group was. Usually they know, that's every now and again you pay a bit of tax and one gets caught. That's where the decoys come in. But they didn't know of us lot. So that was the interrogation, separate room, double-handed baton thing, solar plex jabs and everything. You know you've got no muscle there. It's fucking horrible. So you go through all that. Once they finish with that...
they were torturing you?
Yeah, basically. They do it, they kill you for it. You know what I mean?
I know that, you know that.
Yeah. So from that, you take it to Chinatown, held for 7 days in the cells there. The guy that snitched me, I didn't figure out what had happened at that point, brought me in a couple of ounces of hash into the police station, so I got through the 7 days fairly calmly with that. It was in a sausage roll. You're taken to court straight after that 7 days, and then you're every 12 days you're in court. I was taken to a place called Bombat, which is a type of remand prison for drugs only.
I know Bombat, yeah.
That's a real short haircuts and very strict, isn't it?
They're all and brown little uniforms, khaki uniforms, aren't they?
You know it.
Yeah.
Everyone with tampons on their heads, the guards have been hitting them and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went through all that. I thought, this is weird. Every American that come in, I thought was a DEA spy. We all did. Because you're just fucking a bit shocked, didn't you? I went through a thing of poetry. I don't know why. That's 7 days in the police station, and the first month I just kept writing these fucking poems, and I guess that's a shock thing of it.
What age was you? What age was you?
33.
So you were 30, young man. You're 33. A young man.
Come out 51.
You come out 51.
At the edge of 52. Following month I was 52.
Yeah.
Didn't recognise any cars. Underground trains talking to you. The voice on them. Fucking smoking fags and cigarettes. People going mad. Barmaids and everything. What are you fucking doing? I didn't know anything.
Didn't know any better?
Nah. There was no system. Because I come back, I was just a free man.
Yeah.
I had a deportation passport, straight through immigration. That was it. I was entered England free, just wondering what was going on. It's worse than Buck Rogers.
So go through the process of your time, especially when you're sentenced. Tell us about what happened there.
Took about 20 months to process. Got sentenced, and at that time I got 50 years. I was looking for a number, and I
wrote about this because if you've got a number,
you go back in 4.
You've had a touch. Yeah. You're happy because then when the amnesties come, you can always go back 4.
Yep.
And if you haven't got a number, technically you're fucked, aren't you?
You are.
Yeah. And some of these people used to go because when I first went there, John, and someone had said he'd come back with ridiculous sentences like 99 years.
Yeah.
And he'd be smiling and be made up, and I'd be going, why is he smiling? What's wrong with him? He'd be going, lad, he's got a number. Yeah, with a number you can work down. And what I've seen is people get big sentences, but they don't actually do that long. You can get 70 years, 60 years. You probably end up doing 12, 15.
If you're not a drug carrier.
If you're not a drug carriers, you're lucky to get an amnesty.
When you get the amnesty, you get a 5th or a 6th cut max. Yeah. That's if you're on excellent class.
Yeah, you've got to be, there's presets, there's 3 different classes, really. Yeah. Basic and enhanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You went up to excellent class, that was it. You got max amnesty. But if they give it you for drugs, you got a 5th or a 6th.
Yeah.
Considered worse than murder if you occur here.
Yeah, so tell us about the 20 months you were waiting for before you went, before you got weighed off.
Okay, that was 3 months. 3 months and a little bit, a couple of weeks, was in Bombat, in that remand place, which is attached to the main Klong Prem place where you were. Sort of next door, you just go through some double iron doors and you're in the Hilton, as they called it. I was in the Hilton 16 odd months, paid 3,000 baht, 75 quid then, to stay in building 6, because it was this big spacious building, and I hung out with Chinese at that time.
That's where the basketball court is, isn't it?
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had Carabao in there. Well, Let Carabao, the musician, the main folk guy.
Yeah, Carabao.
Yeah. He's on a performance, which was pretty good in there.
They love the music, don't they? The size. They love all the cheesy stuff, all the love songs, and that.
They're right into it.
Yeah, and they're all sleeping with each other, aren't they?
Yeah. I got on all right because of the Thai boxing and that. I had the 19 fights. Lived the life on Koh Samui and that. I actually bumped into people I actually knew from the islands that had been put in prison and in Bangkok. So I went through easier. A lot of lads, they've only been in the country a couple of weeks and even had a shag with a Thai bird, and they're thrown straight in the deep end in prison, which is fucked up. I had Thai experience, could speak a bit of Thai and all the rest of it, so I flowed through it. In building 6, when I was in Klong Prem, where I paid to stay, I hung out with Chinese mostly.
Yeah.
I come mates with a guy called Li Ping, he called himself. and he was robbing in China. Remember the Tiananmen Square thing? I think it was 1989.
Yeah.
He bashed a shoulder on the head with a metal bar. So he had to flee from, imagine what would happen. It was on video. And what would have happened to him in China. So he's through Burma into Thailand, robbing people with a knife for money.
Yeah, yeah.
Ends up in prison. So he became my best mate for quite a while. We got a big food group together under the washing lines and all that. So I was focused on that. We had a whole line of lockers. Embassy money was delayed from my family. And he gave me some eggs on rice with cabbage and that. I thought, that's a bit weird, but thanks, mate, and ate it. From that point, we become mates. Started up this big food group. There's a South African in it, Irish, a Scottish guy, Jimmy Calendar, all sorts of people, Chinese, mainland.
There was like,
overseas.
yeah, the nationalities. There's a lot of different nationalities.
Nearly all of them.
I think I counted over 300 different nationalities while I was there.
I would be surprised.
Yeah, there were Australians. There was a lot of Africans, and they were from different regions like Ghana, Tanzania.
Of course, they're out there.
Iranians. There was a load of Iranians when I was there. Loads of Iranians.
Crystal meth era, that was the ice.
Yeah,
that's where they all come in because some of them could add the recipe. They were carrying the kilo for $1,000 from Iran to Thailand. That's how it was working.
What was your memories of Building 6 when you first went there? Because I believe it's still the same from. It was still like it was an old prisoner of war camp, wasn't it? It was like World War II POW camp.
Bangkwan was the ex-prisoner of war camp where they took all the prisoners to
Bangkwang.
The bridge over the River Kwai, even though it's still a fair jaunt to that area where that is, from Nonthaburi. But Large Ao Klong Prem, I'm not sure. It might have been the prisoner of war camp, but it's a big place, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Building 6 had a garage in it. Remember they fixed cars? Were they fixing cars when you were there?
No.
Right.
It's all fishing nets when I was there.
Yeah, that's okay. From the other side of the building, near the front gates where you come in, you look straight ahead.
Yeah.
There was like an alley, a big wide alleyway bit. That was a garage. Yeah. They're bringing stolen cars in there, stripping them down to the chassis and rebuilding them. You know, who's going to come in Thai prison looking for their motor? And that's I knew some Kenyan guys that were working on that, but lived in America, come from America to do their thing, heroin. And
they wouldn't when I was there. They wouldn't let like foreigners work.
I did a little bit.
Yeah, they wouldn't let
6.
They wouldn't let us work at all, so you couldn't earn any earnings.
We paid 150 baht to a Thai to do your work, so you didn't have to do it.
Oh, you're lucky there.
There's an umbrella factory. There was, forget the middle factory. There was an army boot factory. I worked in that, just on half hour a day for a laugh, for something to do. And they throw in the templates for the shoes and everything. You know what I mean? So you got your flip-flops on, you're dodging them, they're throwing them in. And I just had to stack them up. I'd done that for a little while because I was bored, just for the fun. But I was training all different kung fus and that because I was with Chinese groups. Having done the karate before. It was the first dan, Shotokan. So I got the basics down back in the 80s, building up to that point. And the Muay Thai, obviously, try out this kung fu shit and that. And with the food group I was with, all of them had done some different styles of kung fu and that. So we're fucking about with that.
So it's like mixed martial arts, MMA, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically.
It was a good time back then.
Yeah.
Now, the Kong Prem, I didn't even feel it those 20 months. I was all right. And so I got put in Bangkwan. When I got sentenced to 50, I thought, oh, fuck, I've got to go to Bangkwan. But I was happy for the 4-year result to repatriate. It wasn't until about 3 years in that I read into it properly that I realised our treaty was shit. And I refused to go.
So initially, right, was you threatened or was you sentenced to the death sentence?
Yeah, well, it's death sentence commuted to 50 because I put my hands up.
So did you, for going guilty, you know, you had a choice. You'd either go not guilty, get found guilty, get
death sentence.
The death sentence, or you throw your hands in and we'll give you a little 50.
Yeah, that was the sort of deal. They never executed white or black whilst I was there. That's what they did whilst you were there.
No, they didn't.
There was always someone like a Burmese guy, other Thais, a Taiwanese, and a Hong Kong were when I was there.
It was very rare, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I don't think all the time I was there they didn't do it.
No.
You know, it's not like Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, but they really do it. You know what I mean? Irrespective of government requesting not to and all the rest of it. The Thais sort of a bit more lenient where that was. And when I got my first amnesty from the 50, because I did build up no class, I got like an 8th or a 9th cut, ended up with 46 years something.
Yeah.
Whereas, irrespective of that first amnesty, irrespective of what class you were, you got a cut if you're on the life one, the 99 or the 100. You got cut straight down all the way to 40. It's usually to 50, the biggest number like I had, but they cut me down to 40. So wait a minute, technically he's twice as bad as me. He's only got 40. I still left with this 43 or 40 odd whatever years I had left. I got more in him. How's that work?
How did you even comprehend facing? Because I know how difficult it was just to serve like a few years there, John. So to imagine like your life.
I did the Royal Pardon application, and Lord Montague, I didn't know he was a shirt lifter kiddie thing with Boy Scouts or whatever. Not that, but they probably read into that, I don't fucking know. But Lord Montague of Bewley supported me, wrote a personal letter in 1998. I had that, and I had teaching the martial arts, the Royal Martial Arts, Richard Hopkins and all the rest of it, that sponsored me. So it's in Bang Kwan giving certs, licenses, the whole thing for martial arts free. It's even teaching fucking Chinese and the Jap guy in that. Freestyle karate, really, mixed with Muay Thai.
Yeah.
And I thought I had a good chance at a King's Pardon, doing the right thing. Yeah, I had a couple of job offers. I had one on Bali for a Canadian dive instructor mate that had a shop there. He come and visit me and that. Could have worked there, and the other one was teaching the karate when I got back home.
Yeah.
So I had them in and backup letters. So I thought I had a good chance for a King's Pardon. Normally kick in about the 7-8 year bracket. So my brain was on that. And a Scouser lad called Les Black was there. He's a good boxer, oil rig worker back in the day. $250,000 from the Philippines, fake money. So he got about a 4 or 5 year sentence, whatever. And he told me, Johnny, you got to look at these 10 years. So I had 10 years in my head. That's all they thought, 10 years, or I get the King's Pardon in 8. I had a girlfriend, a school teacher. We called them banana visitors, backpackers that come and visit you because they always give you fucking bananas. Yeah. You want a carton of cigarettes, but they give you bananas and that. Yeah. So I had a girlfriend for about 4 years. So she helped put my King's Pardon together and all this sort of stuff. 99, I met her. So I thought I had a good chance. Yeah. But no, I didn't get fucking anywhere.
Didn't you have any of the missionaries come to visit you?
Yeah, I did. Father Oliver and Charles Holmes, I think it was. Yeah. So there was sort of Protestant side and the Catholic side. A little bit pushy. I fell out with one of them.
Yeah, we had a lady called Catherine. She the same pushy. She was trying to push the religion onto me, and
a lot of the Nigerians and whatever, they all push it in prison as well.
They do, definitely. They start giving you free bars of soap and everything to come along, and
you know that.
They were all on the drums, and they're quite like energetic when they come to
sell a load of smack in the building the whole week, and then on Sunday go in and get forgiven.
That used to make me like confused with that. They'd be like selling all the drugs, and then on the Sunday they'd be celebrating the Lord's Day.
Exactly.
And then trying to get you involved.
Get forgiven, don't you?
I don't know. I think I tried every religion under the sun when I was there, John. I was an atheist going in, and then I came out like being through the Muslim, religion, the Buddhist.
I've done the Buddhist bit. I've done 18 months. So I meditated at least 20 minutes a day. Went through the whole book.
I did, because we used to. It's obviously the same when you were there. You had to. The national anthem was played twice a day, first thing in the morning at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And then we had it again at 8 p.m.
We didn't have that. We just had the morning one.
We had it at 8 a.m. I suppose in Bangkok it wasn't the same as it was in Chiang Mai, but in Chiang Mai we had it at 8 a.m. and then 8 p.m.
Yeah, I know a bit about Chiang Mai because my American mate that helped me, we done 6 magazines, underground ones, back in the day, like 97. And the other guy that helped me, done that with me, he was well read. He was in Chiang Mai prison quite a while. And it's pretty bad there. They lock you up in the big room when everyone's downstairs or something, don't they? You don't really get out, do you?
No, it's shop. Like it's just a big massive room and you're all in there.
So you don't see sunshine, do you?
No.
Everywhere else you do, unless you're in solitary. I've done a couple of batches of solitary as well, which is real shit.
Yeah. Tell us about that. Tell us about your time and your experience going through the years. Because we come across a friend, didn't we? A mutual friend, Mitch, the Australian. He was.
He got caught again, didn't he?
Yeah. So what was your? Because he was in Bang Kwang with you.
He's in a different building, but I used to meet him now again in the visit room or whatever meetings. He had a relative, Australian, that was in the police force that was really pissed off with him, like plainclothes police, whatever. And he got caught again doing something in the prison, another deal, DEA front out, pretended to be the customer and all that type of shit.
Yeah.
He was in another guy, I think, Pyset. He'd done 20 odd years by that point already. And to get caught again, a guy who was in his 50s. Yeah, they set something up, I don't know what it was, and it was just a DEA front.
Yeah.
It's entrapment, basically. I don't think they should be allowed to do it because had they not been there, they wouldn't have done the deal. it wouldn't have been done at all. So
Mitch was quite, Mitch is clever. He come across
he was
with
teaching computers in there.
He was teaching computers. He had a laptop in his shell, I believe, or they believed he had a laptop in his shell. And you remember him telling me the story about it. They believed he had a laptop and a phone, and he was communicating with, the outside world, and he was making major drug deals.
Yeah, there's loads of phones in there when I was there.
Was there? Yeah.
One guy from the Middle East, let's say, he was walking up and down doing crystal meth deals in front of the cards. They'd all been paid off just with like a Tesco's phone. They did that. iPhone 4s were about towards the end when I was there. And he's walking about doing his deals with that, the whole bit. Motorcycle hitmen for lines that didn't pay up to take people out, the whole bit. He was running that.
Yeah,
he become a millionaire from that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I was watchman. The last year I had shit. My nan died, so I had some inheritance money, 12.5 grand I made last about 4 years. Prior to that, my brother was in Russia working casinos as a manager in Moscow, Cosmos Hotel and all that. So I was getting like 150 a month, which is good in prison, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of getting by on that. Then my nan died, so I made that last 4 years. But my last year was shit. I was like Nigerian smack factory, looking out for that. So they'd either feed you the gear or pay you 500 baht, carrying their phones up my sleeve to the room, up a t-shirt sleeve taped on and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Getting by like that. Oh, you couldn't give us a fag, mate. All that sort of situation. Last year was tough.
So you had a tough last year whilst away.
I couldn't have done 18 without money.
No.
If I didn't have backup from family and stuff, I'd be fucked. Because you just had the prisoners abroad, innit? Remember them?
They look after your prisoners abroad.
Yeah, 90 quid every 3 months, a quid a day, innit?
Yeah.
And your vitamins, essential.
Your vitamins, yeah, and your protein. I think we were getting protein tablets as well. I don't know what the fuck they were.
Yeah, I remember that.
They were getting sold. They were sold.
Yeah, they just, yeah.
Yeah, multivitamins.
500 quid, 500 quid, 500 baht deal for the Centrum on it. It was bad. Like 3 months worth of vitamins for 1 day's go of sniffing smack.
Yeah.
I didn't touch any of that for the first 3 years. Really positive. Done these 3 years, let me think. 94 to 97. Yeah, I was doing the underground mags, teaching martial arts, the whole thing in there. Very positive time.
So the first 3 years of your imprisonment, you were quite positive. You were focused.
Yeah.
You looked at that release date of a 10 at the least. So you were focusing on that because you know.
Yeah, I was looking at nearer to 8 because of the King's Pardon, thinking it'd be all right.
So from 50, you were looking at 8.
Yeah, in my head.
In totality.
When I sussed out the amnesty thing, sussed out the repatriation treaty thing properly, and how Brits was shut on, they had to say they just adhered to it too strictly instead of finding a way to help you. In the end, they come up with House of Lords or whatever, their ultimate wisdom. It's no defined sentence on a life because it's not definitely 99 or not 100. We've also got similar. We can deal with that. And Scotland is still doing it. They have like the 18 months and you're on parole, Euro deal. But if you had a 50 like me, you're double fucked. You still had to stay for that number because it was a number. And I said, doesn't common sense tell you that you're staying for 8 years, you're twice as bad? Because your next step up's death. Come down to life, come down to a number. So they're twice as bad as me, getting out in 18 months, and you're going to keep me in there for 20 odd years, you fucking mad. So that was it. That was
the UK deal.
Yeah, and it took me 3 years to suss all this out properly, because I was going to repatriate. That's why I refused to repatriate. Then my head got a bit more fucked. Then I was sniffing a bit of China white every now and again. And you know what it's like, you do it once a week. Is that when
it went down, you started to go downhill a bit?
Yeah, but I'd only do it for a while. First couple of years, I was just doing once a week, twice a week it went to. Then it's every day. Fucking hell, I'll be doing this 6 months, and I jump off the ride. They had a thing called Tamgesic in the prison. They got
Tamgesics, yeah.
So you mash them up and sniff them, and they just counteracted it. Do that for 3 days, 2 or 3 days, and get your habit down to once a day. Then just do a line again after Tamgesic to get rid of that nastiness. I could get wriggled out on paracetamols. Then I'd stop for a few months or a year, and then back on again. Give your brain a holiday, because I was in the first building for like 9 fucking years or something in Bangkok.
Yeah.
And big building, about 300 metres by 60 metres.
How many inmates were in the cells with you?
On an average, 18. So 17 with me. I was in Thai cells most. The foreigner one was too political.
Yeah.
They paid 10,000 baht a month, 200 quid. But they always have a Thai spy in them. You probably guessed that.
Yeah.
And you had more bed space. Everyone's plugged in, jack plugs to the TV. They had satellite TV. A guy called John Russell made the first satellite dish before there was a satellite building. and they every month have a meeting with all the rooms, agree on what programs to watch. So you had a set program list, and they were doing that all plugged in. But I chose to stay in Thai rooms. It's a bit too political.
I felt
I
this.
get on better.
I felt the same. I felt more comfortable sharing a shell with the Thais than I did with the foreigners because political, and we never got on.
Yeah, nor did we.
I ended up fighting with most of them. I hated them.
Yeah, it gets like that. You get on Thais. I know they all snitch and that, but they're more down to earth.
Bit more humble as well, aren't you? In a sense of like, they're all snitches, they're all bad grasses, like. But as for like the foreigners, they were all full of ego and
they were
grandiosity and better than, and I just
comparing what each other got and all that silly shit.
So you always felt less than, or more than. It was a different. Like,
Thais at the very end that last year, but the Thais helped me out a bit really. Nigerians, food, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it was all right.
So you were getting supported, by the inmates within there.
Yeah, very last year. I had my own money before that, but I helped people out myself.
So through the first 3 years you were positive. So what happened from the next 12 to 13, 14, 15 years?
China White got involved there.
15 years you were just smoking China White?
No, on and off. I'd hit little spells, and that obviously ran out of money. I never got credit for the stuff if I couldn't afford it. But by the time I pawned the locker or sold me locker, your lockers and that, by the time I sold that or pawned it, I stopped. Just jumped off whatever, even if I only had paracetamols. Didn't have fucking wiggle. 15 minutes a shower every 15 minutes.
You must have witnessed some horrific scenes in there whilst away.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, John. Because some scary episodes for me while I was away. It was horrible.
I had a few scraps in there, but not with weapons. Never got that far. They pretty much left me alone because there was a guy that murdered a couple of Japanese tourists that was from Koh Samui, where I lived, and he knew me, and a couple of others knew me. So they pretty much left me alone in there. The Thais don't usually bully you. They try and get take out if they can, but not usually. That's with other foreigners, weren't they?
Yeah, but most of the time that they're all fighting with each other, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like not paying a drug debt usually. The samurais, like in your film, the tattooed boys, from the slums and that. They're good at Thai boxing, most of them anyway, because it's a poor man's sport. It's they're the ones. They're not in a building very long. Usually get in trouble. They sanction the punishments. They're the ones that stab you. Yeah, they won't cut you. They just kill you. Heart, lungs, stab.
The sanctions. I remember listening to one of my Thai friends talking about the sanctions and the regulations and how it went. For stealing, you'd get like beaten up badly. For drug deals and all that. You could end up. It went up to death in the end.
Yeah, the stabbing.
I see.
One trustee copped it when I went to Solitary 2005. Trustee had done something, and they waited just to after the count to go up the stairs and everything. And 3 of them got him in his little hut thing. Just 3 of them stabbed him up.
Did you
Pon Tip, the punk rocker bird, the main forensic one, a bit of a celebrity of the time in Thailand. She was in the prison. I saw her when I was in the visit room. She was involved in it and everything.
Was she a lady boy?
No, she was worked for the police outside. Main forensic scientist they had at the time. Pon Tip was something her name was.
Oh, I never met her.
She came into prison to suss it all out, what went on. When I went in Solitary in 2005, the 3 lads that done it were in there. And all the rest of it, shouting down and that.
Did he just kill him?
Yeah. No mercy.
Did you ever see any really horrific violence?
Yeah, cleaver on the head a couple of times to one guy. Like a sash clamp thing when the guy had his face covered in shampoo at the shower. Another Thai guy bashed his head in with this lump of metal. Yeah. Literally like a pumpkin.
Just ended his life?
Yeah, ended his life, mashed his head, brains hanging out.
Was you watching that?
Yeah, I went far away. When he come by on the trolley, I saw him come by.
His head was just smashed up?
Yeah.
Horrible, isn't it?
Yeah. You imagine you got soap in your face, someone's behind at the shower troughs, and he just keeps pounding your head when you're on the ground as well.
And I think when I was told that you'd only serve a 4-year sentence for murdering someone within the prison. You ain't actually given life.
Oh, it's changed. A mate called Noy I had, the one that was hit on the head with a cleaver. A trustee from Senegal, funny enough, we used to call him Mr. Pink because he's an albino. He died of a heart attack. The king said he got so excited when they said they released old people who had a special amnesty. He got so excited he died, the poor guy. He's a Muslim. He managed to shake the cleaver. He was a wrestler before, so he hit across the guy's tendons on his wrist, made him drop the cleaver. But Noy still got sucked to him with a decal with the knees. He's still fighting after these two. It's buried in his skull. Lucky he didn't go through the bone.
Wow.
So he still ploughed in with his knees and fought afterwards. I went out to a visit, and Noy had been sat at the gatehouse for over an hour. Still hadn't took him to hospital. The guy that was hit on the head. This guy, he was in for murder, and when I left, he'd done about 20 odd years, still had 30 to go, because he killed 2 people in the prison by stabbing. He's one of the samurais. And it was still like big sentences, life or 50 years, whatever, for an internal killing. Just became the same in the end.
Yeah, because
a new case.
You like, have you been out how long now? 10 years now?
Yeah, getting
so
on.
What year did
9
you get
a
out?
bit. I got out 2012, September 11.
So I was released
on the British soil.
Yeah, I was on British soil. I was released in September 2010.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you were out 2 years after me.
Wow, I didn't realise you were then. I thought you were after a bit later.
No, I was there. I went in 2006. I got out in 2010.
Okay. Did you?
The end, 2007.
Do you know in immigration that you could be kept there for 6 months before the British government pay your ticket?
See, I had the repatriation.
Oh yeah.
So what for me? I had 2 screws from Wandsworth to fly over, and they took me into this. It was weird, right? It was like a ceremony that they went through. They took me out my shell and put me in this massive like office with a big long table, bringing tea. It was surreal. Tea in china cups and, you know, little sugar cubes. Had 2 prison staff there, you know, the governor, the this, the that. I was like, fucking hell. Make it a cup of tea, sir. I was like, wow. Went through that process, and then I was taken to the gates, taken to immigration by these 2 prison staff via a Thai bus.
Yeah.
Dropped off at immigration, locked up there until my flight. So I was in there for about 8-9 hours within immigration, and I spoke to a few of the people in there. They'd been in there for months.
Yeah, there's
one. They'd been in there for months, for like forever. No one had even been to see them.
Do you remember what room we were in? I was in room 7.
I can't remember what room, but it was a lot of noise. There was like a shower at the back. There was 3 cubicles, like a spare room. There was 3 cubicles, toilets, and
yeah, there was a Singaporean guy, the room chief.
Yeah, rooms. Some of them had shops in there.
That's right, they did. Selling bread, biscuits, everything.
Yeah, a little shop in the shelves, selling everything, weren't they?
There's a little Iraqi guy been in there 9.5 years when I went in there.
It's crazy,
He'd
isn't
been
it?
in that room 9.5 years. And the little chap guy looked like Cat Weasel. We'd been there fucking ages as well.
There was an Algerian guy that was in Clone Prem with us. Because Algeria didn't have a government anymore, they couldn't send him back. He had nowhere to send. He didn't even have an embassy to come and see him.
Ah, poor mate.
You know, that's how bad it was. It's like no one's there to support this guy. You know?
There was only enough room. There was 90 odd people in there to lay on your side. Right, that's your bed space. I was next to a Vietnamese guy that I was in prison with. I had to pay 200 baht to the room chief. That's what he did, and they kick everyone along so you could lay like that, like you're in a coffin, and that you just slept when you could, innit? Yeah. That's all you could do. I was lucky. My family sort of didn't want to wear that I was out, didn't believe it, and I could have been left there for 6 months because I wasn't repatriating. And my ex-girlfriend, she was in Brisbane at the time. I didn't know that. I give remember their email address. We hadn't spoken for 9 or 10 years. It was all finished and that. She wanted family, so I didn't know that at the time. I found all this out later. She just went incognito after a few years. One email from the embassy, she sent me 800 quid for the flight because you have to get the ticket they want you to get. That was Malaysian Airways. So I was in immigration 23 days. Proper shit. I wouldn't be able to do 6 months, let alone years, like some of those guys in there.
Was this when you were released? He took you to immigration?
Yeah.
You know, because you need a flight, you need a ticket, don't you?
Yeah. And how are you going to get your ticket money from fuck all? And the British government won't sort you and for the whole 6 months.
So what happened after the 6 months? Would they sort you out then, the British government?
Yeah, they'll take you back home, and then you've got to pay them back the money.
Oh well, what they did with me, they took me passports off me. They pay for the flight.
Yeah.
The British
government will pay that because you're
Wandsworth.
Yeah.
I had to go to Wandsworth and pay
I didn't want the criminal record here. But when I got stopped for motoring offences, stuff like that, they were saying, "Oh, you're in Thai prison 18 years." So what the fuck's that got to do with you? You enforce civil law, do you? I thought you enforced common law. That was Hampshire Constabulary, but they stopped doing it after a while. I said, you know, it's what I mean. I might have known I'd get a 50-year sentence or a number if I put my hands up. You know, I might not have known I had it. You don't know that.
Yeah.
I just said I was guilty, so you took my word for it.
Yeah.
Which I was guilty.
Yeah, well,
but,
you've had
but
mythic guilt.
technically, I could have been innocent, and I just say, yeah, I've done it because I
Yeah.
know I won't get killed.
Yeah, that's what you could have said. But
Yeah.
see, how did you find out that you were getting released? What happened leading up to, like, you've spent a long time now in. Was it all in Bangkok that you stayed most of it?
Yeah, 16 years of it, the last 16.
So you had to, it's a lot. I don't believe it's a horrible prison as well.
I knew there'd be amnesties because the last two I got, there was a big one for the King. I can't remember, 2011, I think, on his birthday, round about 5th, 6th of December.
When did he die? Was it round about 2000?
A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
His son's in charge now, so
He's not the best, I believe.
No, I know. A lot of people like the daughter better, but they think he's a bit of a gangster and all the rest of it. I remember he shut down half of Bangkok once to go visit a bird in prison, a Thai bird, like his mirror noise sort of thing, like his minor wife, whatever.
Yeah.
Shut down half the city so he could go and visit her, but he's in charge. I don't know if he's so lenient. I hear he's not. I don't know.
No.
One thing is, I had a mate in Southampton that had a friend who's an orchid grower, professional, and he was mates with the Thai prince. He's got his photos with him and everything. And I said, fuck's sake, Phil, I wish you'd told me that a long time ago. Because he could have said something to the prince. Maybe you say, oi, Dad, a bit of leniency on this brick. But yeah, never got thought of. And Arabian, after those Arabian jewels were stolen and all the rest of it, he got out it's been nicknamed him Saudi. He's done less than 2-3 years, whatever, went through the court process and that. And he just got released. He had a life sentence, King's pardon. It's that simple. So that sort of stuff gives you hope. You see that happen, you think, oh, fuck, yeah, I get it. You see people go on these king pardons. And yeah, I get that. I was convinced about 8 years because of the Lord, because of teaching martial arts.
So after 8 years, you were convinced you were going to get a king's pardon?
Yeah.
And then you'd done it further 10?
Yeah, when I got to 10 years, I was still all right. I was thinking, yeah, it could be, but it was fuck all. And after that, it was bleak. The 10 to the 18 spot, because this Scouser guy, Les Black, he'd said to me, you got to look at 10, Johnny. So I did.
What was his name?
Les Black. Junior.
Les Black.
His dad was the same name. Worked on oil rigs, was a boxer and all that. Yeah, happy-go-lucky guy. Fed the cats. I had a cat. Yeah.
Horrible. There was loads of cats there, weren't there?
Yeah, I called mine Bastard. Yeah, his guards walked by and everything. I go, Bastard. And the cat would come. Yeah. Like that. You know, the Office of Corrections Department and all that with all the flash stuff on.
So it's getting bleak for you now, right? You've gone past the 10 mark.
Yeah.
Things are looking bleak.
Still teaching martial arts, even on and off smack. Still doing that.
Yeah, so there's no king's pardon on the horizon by the look of things at the moment.
So I'm looking at numbers now.
Numbers now.
I knew there was two. When we had the coup, that was pretty good. It was mad outside.
That, the coup, that was in. Was that with the Reds and the Reds and the Yellows?
Yeah,
because I was there then. I was in 2010.
Yeah, that was round about then. Yeah,
it was March. I tell you when it was. It was March because it fucked up my flight back home. It was March, but March the 29th, March the 28th. I was due to fly out, but it was in March 2010 that they were kicking off.
Yeah, we got two amnesties then.
Yeah, they set the city on fire, didn't they?
Yeah, we got two amnesties then. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
that's how I thought the coup was all right. That naval officer guy was acting prime minister.
Yeah,
the Man City manager, Thaksin Shinawatra. Yeah, he finished being the prime minister then. He left money all over the place, didn't he?
Yeah.
He sold their satellite system and that, but he was into the China rights, so they said. Probably was. That time, two amnesties. It was a good time for us in prison. It was...
There was a lot of hope.
Yeah, a lot of hope. I knew I needed two amnesties. A good one with like with a fifth or a sixth, and then anything. And that's what did happen. I knew they were coming, because I knew it was a big event for the Queen, where I only got like an 8th cut or a 9th. But whatever I got would have done it. Yeah. Had I been a Thai and had that same 50 years on the same day for the same thing, I would have got out a bit earlier, because I would have got the good days, the 2 months each year knocked off for what you served. But the British, I don't know with the other countries, but the British put that with the Thais in an agreement with the repatriation treaty. Yeah. So unless you went back on the treaty, you didn't get your good days. I said, what the fuck's that about? It's not political. I fought your Thais out here. I served your time just like you out here. Now I've got to serve more than a Thai as well. Fuck off, mate. But yeah, political shit. So yeah, I would have been out a couple of years sooner. Well, that would have been 18 years, a couple of months, 36. Yeah, 2 or 3 years less.
So what was the feelings leading up? When did you know you were getting released?
Just over a year before, because we had that amnesty in the August for the Queen, 2012, and 2011 is a big event for the King. So I knew the year before that those amnesties were coming. So about 2010, I knew roughly when I'd be out. 2012.
Was you elated? Was you over the moon?
I wasn't ecstatic. I was just because you sort of know it's coming anyway.
Yeah.
And it was on something. I can't remember exactly in August. Queen's birthday now, 12th-ish. I forget, maybe 16th. And they kept us there a whole extra week after they announced the amnesty. 54 of us from Bangkok went that day, and a week later you're out.
Yeah.
So you're on the cage Toyota fucking pickup thing with a cage on top, but the heat, brilliant. Bangkok police station. Singaporeans that dough, they paid for me 2,000 baht for the police to process the paperwork quicker, or they keep you there overnight.
Yeah.
So you're sorting the police out, they're bringing the food. I had fuck all money left then, but the Singaporeans paid for me, so we could all get into immigration quicker. Otherwise, they keep you in they delay the paperwork, keep you in the police station an extra night.
Yeah.
That's what they like, innit?
It's crazy.
Yeah. So when we went to immigration, that was fucked up immigration. I was seeing people come in on 3-day overstays and that. Old British people, what are they doing here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Should be in the same room.
No.
I was a celebrity because of the 18 years, wasn't it? I was served the most time in that, but got left alone in there. Booted one guy in immigration. Happened to be Syrian, but apart from that, that was why you get left alone afterward, don't you?
So what was the feelings like when you come home? Because you must have had a massive culture shock. You know, getting that flight back to the UK.
Yeah, met my dad and my stepbrother, and they were trying to organise something from the New Forest District Council, like Limiton, with PA Prisoners Abroad, our charity that helps us out, some sort of deal where I get a flat, but I was in London. But boroughs don't link up. They weren't aware of that, so I got fuck all. Anyway, I was paid I don't know if it's PA or whatever. I stayed in a hotel guest house at Finsbury Park for a couple of days. So that's where I got my feet. The worst thing for me was the cold, but acclimatising to cold. But yeah, like I said earlier, lighting fags in pubs, again, getting used, didn't recognise any cars unless they were a classic, like an Escort or something. I didn't recognise anything on the roads. I didn't mind that. For me, that was fun.
Yeah.
I liked all that bit.
It's all new and exciting.
Oh, it's great.
It's all different, yeah.
Just so cold.
Just so cold.
I was going to bed at my mum's.
Did you miss Thailand?
A bit, but you still see mates that have been to Thailand as well, expats with their Thai birds and all the rest of it, plus a massage parlours. Not that I got into that weird, happy ending shit, but become mates with them and that. And it's the older birds, isn't it? Once they're over 30 odd, they all over Europe doing massages. Yeah. But yeah, they're relaxed and they don't want to go back to Thailand. So my little Thai community thing I had with the ex-mates that have been there and their birds and massage birds and done that every now and again. So sort of it watered down from that. I wouldn't mind going to Southeast Asia again.
I'd love to. I loved it. It was like the Thailand wasn't a problem. I was, I was the problem. But so how did you cope? Back in the UK, what was life? You've had this like hell of an experience with drugs, addiction, off and on, China White. There's a lot of abuse that's gone on in your life. Has anything changed? Has it been a difficult process since you've got out? Have you made steps forward?
Not really. Ends up in the same sort of place. I made more money back in the 80s than I make now because of the roofing and everything. I went back to I was working, my brother had a gardening round thing, £10 an hour. So I was helping my brother do a bit of gardening work, like from day 2 or 3 after I got back. Asbestos work. I've got this gradually picked up the certs, and my mate, really good mate, that was a partner with my cousin, who was his van as well. I crashed originally. I just went back. He got me in on the company and that. I just started working straight away. And just got lost in that. Hence not doing no fucking books or nothing like that. I should have done, but I'm too lazy. Just a sensible thing, just getting back into life routine and that, saving a little bit, not much, and that. Tripped over drugs again. Someone asked me, where did you find crack? I said, find a crack whore. Ended up finding it for him. Got a taste for that on and off. That's shit, isn't it? Takes everything from you.
Robs your soul.
Yeah.
This is it's a serious business, what I mean, and it's no joke, addiction. I know. I've had that experience, and it takes you to the ground. I'm
strong enough for spirit and that I could jump off the rides of these things. I don't know how a lot of people, they do a lot of rehab and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I just sort of take whatever medicines I got on the black market a little bit, and I know that after 5 days I haven't got no smack left in my system. I've only got this little bit of medicine, and as long as I'm 2 mil or below, I can jump off from that. All right, do a line of coke or something after that to shock that out your system, the medicinal thing. But just stop from that point. It's just a few wriggles and comfy and that, like rocks in the bed, nothing serious.
Do you ever
and you're out of it.
Do you ever have any nightmares or
nothing?
Nothing.
No. Funny enough, some Thai scene come in a dream about 3 or 4 days ago. I can't remember.
That's probably because we've been talking about it recently and
reawakened it.
Yeah, you've awakened it.
Those magazines your man printed off and everything. I was looking at them, so
there's a lot that's underneath all that. There's a lot of like thoughts that just come back up.
Yeah,
you know, I don't really have any nightmares or memories. I just have like, I don't know, it's like it's another person. It's like another person lived that life.
It is. You reflect back on it. Yeah. It's so much of the sameness, isn't it? It doesn't matter. After really 4 years, 5 years ain't no different than 18. You think from a woman perspective, you haven't had a shag for a year. Yeah. What difference is it if you haven't had a shag for 10 years? Yeah. Same feel, isn't it?
For me, it was like the heat. It was just a horrendous heat within in Thailand, Bangkok. You used to let us out of our cells about 6:30 in the morning, and you'd be back by 5, 6 in the evening. But you had them hours, and there was nothing to do.
No.
You know, they were making deck chairs. Did you ever have any there?
Yeah.
Deck chairs. And
you pay for your deck chairs. You have a deck
chair. You had to pay for a bit of shade under the tree.
We weren't that extreme. We found a shade, but...
if there was any, you get 50 back, you have little gangs sitting around it.
Yeah, we had a Brit den in Bunk 1 for a while, in Building 2. Some Christian charity paid for us, so we had a den, like a little plywood and chicken wire mesh thing. So you have your den within the factory, within the building. As did the Hong Kongers, as did the Iranians, and all the rest of it.
So, how's your life today, John?
I had a Bulgarian bird for a while. She was a cleaner in a shared house. Went through shit with her, crack situation. Spent a lot of money, nightmare. Ended up homeless here in Nottingham. She had a second fellow and all she was doing. She was 20 odd years old. Before my heart caught up with my mind, I let it go too far. So I got through that situation a few months ago, and it's just picking up from there, really. Trying to get something done again.
So what are your plans for the future?
Should get this book done, innit?
Yeah,
and take it from there. Try and market these magazines. We done it in '97 underground. And get more online and in touch with this type of stuff. In case my tech, I'm so fucking backward on catching up with this. I didn't know what a podcast was, seriously.
Yeah, you know. It's Brian, your friend.
Brian Jenkins, the Luton hooligan lad.
Big thanks to Brian, by the way, for putting me in touch with you.
He's a nice guy.
It's great. Thank you. So, we're coming to the end of this podcast, right? Sorry, John. We're coming to the end of the podcast. But what I always say to me guests, any pearls of wisdom, is there anything you'd say to a young John Whelan coming through the doors of life? What would you say to him now? If you could see yourself there, John, mate, picture it and go, there I am. I'm on this path. What would you stop and say to yourself?
Try and swerve the class A's, and if you do dabble with them, only ever get personal. And you only got to get caught with your personal bit. That's for you. Even if it is more expensive, just stay with that. Don't think get a bigger bit. It's cheaper, or you could get done for dealing or anything. If you are going to do it, just your personal for that day. That's it. Yeah, because try not to touch the class A's. It's all fucked. All your family suffer for it. Your mates, everything. Just keep away from them.
And with that, John, thank you very much.
Nice one, Betty. Cheers, mate.